welcome to Game Crunch, your weekly video game podcast. My name is Mike Anastasia. With me today, we got Brandon.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, we're talking about games and things.
Hi.
Hi. All right. What's on the agenda? I don't know. Ton of games. And Xbox is closing everything.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, I think, but not at the same time. I think that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, let's do it.
I got a whole cool little doodad. I want to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, I want to hear about this. It sounds really neat. How is it?
All right. So first of all, it's awesome. So it's called the RG Rotate. This is my first handheld game console system thing that isn't a Steam Deck or a Game Boy or something like that, like a PSP. So this is one of those, a lot of people would just call them Chinese knockoff consoles and stuff like that. But there's a lot more work put into this than your average cheap Chinese knockoff console. Yeah. So this is called the RG Rotate. It's made by Ambernick, and the way this works is it's a little square box that has a touchscreen, but if you flip the touchscreen like so, then there's a nice controller underneath with like a D-pad, A, B, X, Y, start, select buttons, and you have an L and R button and L2 and R2 button also on the back. And this is a Android handheld, and like I said, I haven't used an emulation / any of those things since the Steam Deck. And the Steam Deck is big and bulky. Essentially. Yeah. It is huge. It is massive.
Not necessarily something you're going to slide into your pocket.
Yeah, this is smaller than the size of like a wallet. This is
it looked to me
tiny.
Like Game Boy Advance SP size from the picture you showed me. Is that kind of about what you would say?
It's actually smaller than an SP.
Okay.
And when it folds up, it's also smaller than an SP when it's folded.
Okay.
So a little of both. So essentially what I've been using this to play is like Castlevania. Like this has been my Castlevania machine. So I've been playing like the DS and the Game Boy Advance Castlevanias on it, as well as other things. But I wanted to like play these games in a way I hadn't yet. And because, I played some of these games way back when, but I wanted to see them kind of in a new light. So I found out about this other site that is also built into all these things. So there's this site that's called Retro Achievements.
Okay.
Retroachievements.org is what it is. You make an account on this website, and you have like an account name and a password to sign in. And on this website, it keeps track of you playing these emulated games. So say I play Pokemon Pinball, and I capture 5 Pokemon or something. Then I get an achievement for capturing 5 Pokemon. And it even has like the pop-ups like you would have for like Xbox 360 or Xbox One or PS5 or whatever. It even has those kind of pop-ups in like the corner on your screen when you do things. All these achievements are governed by the community, and there's like a list that's been written out, and that's like pretty much agreed upon. And they've got one for like almost every single retro game you can think of. So essentially I've been playing and getting achievements for games that never had achievements, and it's actually pretty cool.
That's pretty neat.
But on top of that, this is like a 1:1 by 720p by 720p screen. So it's a decent resolution.
Yeah, especially for like older games.
Yeah. So you could kind of stretch them out, or you can keep them at the same aspect ratio, and you can also add like bezels and stuff that make it look like it's an actual Game Boy, for instance. It's neat. It's really cool. I think I showed you a picture of it using my Game Boy bezels. I don't know if I showed you that.
I don't recall. Yeah,
I'll show you another picture just in case, because it's actually really cool. So yeah, essentially, this whole thing is not plug and play. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way. It is 100% not plug and play. This is a toy for people that like to tinker with things. So if you can't be bothered to tinker with stuff, I would not recommend something like this. There are some cases where you can get like pre-made cards, essentially. And the pre-made cards make it so it's a lot closer to plug and play than it would be otherwise. I sent you a picture of it with the Game Boy bezels and everything.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, it's awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. Like it looks like it almost has like a depth to it.
It does, because that's the way I designed it.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah, it's really neat. It's cool.
Yeah.
So like, yeah, there's a lot of tinkering and changing things up. Like when you get a game, for instance, and you play like a Game Boy game, it's not going to look like a Game Boy game. It's going to look like, like a white thing, like the game should look essentially. But
Hmm.
you can do a lot of things with stuff such as shaders to change the color to make it look closer to like a DMG Game Boy, and you can just go into like the settings and change all the stuff around like that. It's super neat, and like I said, it's not super complicated to get into, but it is definitely like you're playing with a toy. You have to understand that it's going to take a little bit of doing because this is not all just plug and play. If you just wanted to play games though, like you could get like a card also for like $20. It has like 18,000 games already preloaded on it, and then you could just scroll through and play them, however you want, whenever you want, without changing any of these settings. So I mean, it's obviously possible to do that, and obviously possible to like just have this as a plug and play experience. I chose not to because I wanted to go through the hell myself, and I also wanted to just mess around with things because I love messing around with technology and seeing
Yeah.
what I could do. Or
Hmm.
a few other things about this. This comes with its own um, engine, essentially, and
What do you mean?
the in
Like emulator engine kind of thing?
so there's a front end for this that's already made by the people that made the RG Rotate. So you just
Okay.
hold a single button and it boots you into their emulation like engine thing that they already have set up, and you could just play that way. I installed my own.
Okay.
So I actually, there is this thing known as Emulation Station, which is the same thing that they had on Steam Deck as well,
Hmm.
and was something I was very used to, knew how to deal with a lot, knew how to like customize it and do all these things I'm talking about, like changing the colors, changing the shaders, making it look more like a real Game Boy, that sort of deal. Like there's all this stuff like that that I knew how to do coming from the Steam Deck. So I went and I found out they have a version that they made for Android, but they charge for it on their Patreon. It's a one-time purchase of $6. But
Oh, that's not bad at all.
once you have it, you have it forever. So
Yeah.
like it's not like you have to continuously be on their Patreon. They even say if you can only support us once and want to do that, just unsub and make sure that you have your email address as the correct email address, and every time we have a new update for this emulation front end, we'll send you the new update in your email even if you aren't currently subbed. So they're very good with the way they handle this sort of thing. And I
Yeah.
ended up going with Emulation Station DE, which is just a lot more. It's a lot cleaner. It looks better in my opinion. I'm gonna actually send you images of how it looks so you can see it yourself. So I'll show you first the one that they have that you get if you just use the one that is that comes with it, which is RG Launcher, which is their own like front end.
Hmm.
So let me just grab like a picture for you real quick.
Okay.
It's not going to be the cleanest picture because my desk is a mess right now, but whatever. You'll get
Okay.
it.
That's fair. I won't hold your desk against you.
Okay. So like I'll just sit in this. If I could even take a screenshot because my phone's being dumb right now. God, I need a new phone. But yeah, essentially they send you this very bare bones launcher that when you hold a button, it like opens up to it essentially, and yeah, that's how it is. So
Okay.
I sent you a picture of their bare bones version that looks very boring, very like okay, it's there it is. It is what it is. It is
Yeah, there it is.
it's
Oh
that.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, no, yours
which
definitely looks a lot nicer.
which is fine. That's totally fine. But like then we hop into Emulation Station DE, which I have, which is more like let me go over to my version of Game Boy Advance with the way I have it set up, and then here you can see this. Uh, definitely looks a lot better. Like a lot more character is in my version, essentially that I've set up,
Yes. Yeah,
and
that
then
looks really clean. Actually, it looks very like Nintendo professional. I like it.
it does. It does. It looks great. And
Hmm.
then, like, when you actually go in, you can see all your games you have loaded in as well. And if you leave it on there long enough, it actually plays a video
Hmm.
of the game. So it's like you're going through like a storefront basically for each one of the games you have put on there. It's super clean. It's very nice, and like I said, it was only $6, and I think the emulation station people that made this are phenomenal at what they do.
Yeah, and it's all linked in with like the achievements thing and everything, like
Yep,
all in this.
yep,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yep. It's all in there.
Hmm.
So it's super cool. And like I said, I this is the thing where like I had to go to like get Katie's medication, and we had to like renew her insurance. And while I was waiting, I like popped this out and played like Pinball of the Dead, which is a Game Boy Advance game. I tried to get like a high score on Pinball of the Dead. I was just
Okay.
playing that in the waiting room, and
Yeah.
you can also like hold one button, and then it goes back to a like an Android front end, so it just looks like a normal Android thing, which I'll also show you that. Do 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 do. I know there's a lot of showing you this today, but it's kind of hard to explain otherwise. So there it is, my customized Android front end with my own background and like my Android apps, the Play Store and everything. So like one button, it goes from being an emulator straight to being Android. And like with it being Android, you can literally install anything from the Play Store and play it on this as well. So
Very nice.
if you wanted, you could just you probably also see in the image I sent you, I have something at the top called SquarePod.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm gonna send you that too because that's super cool. Because I also customized the this to be an MP3 player where I can use it as an actual MP3 player, and it looks like an iPod when it's closed up and everything. It's super cool. I really dig it. So I've got this as like a whole multimedia device. It's got like Android apps for me. It's got emulation, and it's also got MP3 player. And yeah, it's super awesome. I love this thing. It was like $86, and then after shipping and tax, it was like came to like 112 or something like that.
Oh, not bad.
But
And you
there's
said the one
so
screen's a touchscreen, right? Too.
yeah, it's a full touchscreen. So the actual screen is just a touchscreen. I could
Yeah.
play any
So,
touchscreen game with it. I could put on virtual controls if I needed like if I wanted to play a thumbstick game on just a little tiny screen or whatever. I could do that. I mean, it's all there. It's all possible.
yeah.
There's one shortcoming this has, and I will tell you this right now. But I also alleviated that shortcoming for $10, so whatever. And that's that there is no headphone jack. So much like modern day things, there's no headphone jack on this. But I used a DAC, which translates the USB charging to a headphone DAC instead, and I just plug headphones into it, and I got it for like $10. So altogether, this is like $122, and it's a media player. It's an emulation machine, which can play up to like PS2, which is pretty crazy because
Yeah,
something this
actually.
small should not play PS2, but it
No, it
does.
doesn't look like it. Yeah, I would never guess it would play PS2, honestly.
Yeah,
And it's got
it's
a really nice look. Honestly, like I know users obviously can't, listeners can't see this,
yeah,
but I mean, it looks really nice.
yeah.
Like I think
It's
it
very
looks,
clean. It's just a
yeah,
little square box. It's neat. It's so cool, and
yeah,
I was super excited to get this because I'm going on a trip next month. It's about a 14-hour drive, so that's why I have this.
yeah. That would be nice though for that. And you got your
Yep.
Switch and your Steam Deck. It's not like you'll be out of things to do.
I
So,
actually do not have my Steam Deck.
oh,
That's another reason I picked this up, which I guess I can drop that bomb now. I got rid of my Steam Deck at the beginning of this year. My father went into the hospital because he really needed extra funds to pay for all the medical expenses that were coming. So I actually got rid of that to help out alongside it. And
yeah,
because I wasn't really using it, little did I know if I would have waited another 6 months, that thing would have been worth $1,000. But to each their own.
yeah. You win some, you lose some.
Yeah, but yeah, I ended up doing that because he was in the hospital for quite a while, and basically he got out and he was like, "I need this medicine," and we were like, "Oh well, oh." So I immediately rushed to sell that and get him his medication and stuff that he needed because I didn't have any funds myself at the time either. It was a very bad time and caught us all off guard. But I ended up getting him my Steam Deck, and then ever since then, I was like, I want something to fiddle with when I have free time, and I don't want to drag my Switch 2 everywhere because it's still a little bit too new to the point where it's like I don't really trust taking out that $500 machine, to be
Yeah,
honest.
5 seemed to be more expensive. I don't
Yeah,
remember. Yeah.
550. Yeah, somewhere in
Mhm.
there. But yeah, so I got this little thing, and honestly, I mean, it does a lot of the stuff that I wanted to do. Like, I can play Luminous, I can play, different PS2 games. I can play GameCube, some GameCube. GameCube's a little bit harder for this thing to run because GameCube's always kind of been the more problematic machine when it comes to emulation on mid to lower end emulation machines and stuff like that. But yeah, I love this thing. It's awesome. And sometimes I'm just like chilling in bed and I'll flip it out and play like, Symphony of the Night or Aria of Sorrow, something like that. And
Mhm.
I've tested this with other things. Like I've played 3DS games on this. Uh it sure is it's a treat. Let's say that. It's a treat. It's a bit difficult, but I've played 3DS games on this.
I'm like trying to imagine. Uh,
So,
I does
of
it
the
like
ones I've tested, right?
okay? How does
You know
it?
what?
Well, wait, how does it do it?
Yeah, I
Because
got you. I got you. I got you.
yeah,
Actually, I'm just gonna show you. I think it's easier just to do that than try to
okay.
explain it, so I can at least show you, so you can understand a little bit better.
Mhm.
So I'm getting it pulled up so I can get an image for you. Oh no, I forgot to set the launch parameters. I fucked up the launch parameters. Shit. Oh, I actually have a problem. There's an update for 3DS, so I can't actually open it up on Emulation Station. Let me see if I can open it up on RG Launcher really quickly. Might be easier. Yeah, that'll work. It's very silly, and it's pretty dumb. But I do have full like emulation speed and everything, so like that's good.
Yeah.
So here you go. This is gonna look stupid,
Okay.
but it works. It really
Okay.
does, and especially for games that are not really touchscreen heavy. And you can also make that full screen instead.
Okay. And actually, this answers the other question that was in my head,
Mm-hmm.
and it was whether or not, um, where's my words? Whether or not the inside screen was a touch screen as well. So I'm guessing
Yes,
the answer is yes from this. Yes.
yes.
Because the picture you showed me before that I was like, okay, that's definitely a touch screen. That was the exterior. So
Okay, so what you're seeing right now, that
mhm,
that flipped up screen,
yes.
that is the only screen.
Oh, well, no, but then what's isn't it when it's closed? You have a screen on the outside too.
Yeah, that is the outside. That
Oh,
flips
it
down.
folds. Oh,
It folds
okay.
down like a flip phone.
Does it? Well, does it let how? Okay, so let me ask another question though. The hinge, does it let you angle it like normal?
No. So it's a flip out like slide. Okay, like
So you
this is
open.
kind
Okay,
of this is
let me
kind of
try
a
to describe
fidget
what I'm
toy.
imagining.
This
I
is
got
kind of a
you.
fidget toy. If I can,
Okay.
let me see if I can show you a video of the RG rotate, because this is also kind of a fidget toy. It's a very unique style. Let me see if I can get that. Yeah, here we go. I got a video for you. It's just a quick YouTube thing so you can see how it works. Okay, does that explain your question now?
Okay. So it got it. Yeah. So it's not. It doesn't. So I guess in my mind I was imagining it that it would open
Like a
like a
clamshell.
clamshell, but
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't. It twists
No, it
open.
twists. It twists open.
Yes.
Yes, correct.
Okay, got it. That makes more sense. I can see it now, and hopefully
Mm-hmm.
that helps the listeners kind of understand how I'm describing this. Yeah, so it kind of twists open. But I'm guessing then the screen, no ability to adjust the angle. Then it's kind
No,
of
no, it's just
flat.
kind of up. It's just kind of up there. That's
Okay,
that's essentially what it is.
yeah, kind of reminds me of wasn't there a Game Boy that was kind of like that? Oh
I'm
no
not
no no no
sure.
no no no! I know what I'm thinking of.
What's that? The
Um,
PSP Go?
yes, that's what I'm thinking of.
Mm.
I know it's a little different,
That's
obviously,
more
because
like
it
a
slides up.
slide because it slides up. But this company
It
also
slides
made one
up.
of those. Would you
Yeah.
believe me if I told you that? They
No, I'm
also
not
made
surprised.
the RG slide.
Yeah, so it slides up, but it's kind of, at least in terms of how you hold it
Mm-hmm.
and kind of how that screen interacts with the controls is similar. That's
Yeah.
what
So
I'm trying to get at. Yeah.
so here's their RG slide. So you can see that
Oh,
it
that is like,
literally
yeah,
is
it's
a PSP
literally.
Go.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't even have to process the image, like I could tell.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, no, this flips up. So when you flip it down, it becomes more small and compact with the touchscreen on the front of it, where you could just touch it and do something like maybe select one of your Android apps or something, or hell, even if you have it closed into the little square that you could see in the video that I showed you, then you could put on virtual controls and play with a virtual controller if you're a crazy person,
Mm-hmm.
or you can, like what I do, I use it as a music player. So I'll close it and have it completely closed, flip down, and I'll just have it as an MP3 player, have it sitting in the little compartment of the car, and have it connected to the car via Bluetooth, because this has Bluetooth. This
Mm-hmm.
also has Wi-Fi. So I mean, it's a nice little doodad. I
Yeah, it's
love
a
this
beefy little
thing.
machine. Yeah,
It's so
I can
cool.
tell. No, it seems like it seems like a great way to get a lot of great games without spending big bucks. Question though, battery life.
Yes.
That's a big deal.
Got you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, if I had to guess,
Mm-hmm.
between 4 and 6 hours if you go to something like PSP.
Okay,
Oh,
so something a little
like,
bit more intense. Yeah.
yeah. So like if you're down in like the NES, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy, that sort of thing, you're
Mm-hmm.
looking at more like 8 hours or so, somewhere in there.
So very reasonable. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
great.
about I think it's a 3 or 4 thousand milliamp hour, 3 or 4 thousand milliamp powered battery. I don't remember which one it is. It's one of those two. So
Okay.
it's a decent amount of gameplay,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what you're playing. I
Yeah.
think I played like 4 or 5 straight hours of just PSP games one
Mm-hmm.
day, and then it died on me. And yeah, it's very convenient. It's really fun. I love this thing.
Okay. Yeah. No, it looks great. I'm glad it is as good as it sounded.
Me too.
Yeah.
And I do have to also mention this.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I bought this through AliExpress,
Okay.
which you may or may not know the site.
Uh-huh.
It's a site that a lot of people use for like computer parts and
Yes, I've heard of it
like
before at least.
like keyboards, mice, accessories, stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
It's a Chinese site where you import things essentially, and sometimes it's lesser quality, sometimes you can get better things there. They
Mm-hmm.
had an official Ambernick store on AliExpress, and I messaged them the same day I got this console, because it comes with a free lanyard, a screen protector. Um, um, I bought it with the bag, which cost an extra $5, but $5 for a carrying case is pretty fucking good.
Yeah.
So yeah, it comes with a lot of stuff inside the actual little box that this thing ships in.
Uh-huh.
And I have pets, as you may know. And when I attempted to put the screen protector in, I got bumped and it got dropped onto the floor, and a bit of pet hair got on it, and then it was completely useless. So I messaged them and I said, hey, my screen protector got ruined. I need to purchase another one. Is there a way I can just purchase the screen protector from you? And they said, nah, don't worry about it. We'll just send you a new one. So, like, also, their service, their customer service is pretty fucking good. Just gonna say that.
Yeah, that is great. Definitely better
Because I
than
could,
some of the other things I had gotten.
yeah, like, I mean, they're giving me a free screen protector. It got ruined. My own fault. And, like,
Mm-hmm.
I just said, hey, I messed up. It was my own fault. I dropped it by mistake, and then it got ruined. Is there any way I can buy one? I didn't even ask for them to give me one. I asked if I could buy one, because they don't have the ability to purchase screen protectors for their individual things on their site. They just give you one with the item that you purchase. Anytime you purchase an item from them, and it's like cut to form for that
Mm-hmm.
item that you're buying. So I asked them if there was a way I could purchase specific one for the RG Rotate, and then that's when they were like, no, we don't have them for sale, but I'll just send you one. And I was like, oh, that's even better. Thank you.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is really nice. I mean, it's good. I feel like good customer service online is less and less these days.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
I've had some awful customer service with other people, and I was just very taken back that these people were like super like receptive to like being helpful about the whole thing. Like they were cool. They were chill. And I would recommend purchasing from them. But I would also, like I said, I've been daily driving this thing for a week now, essentially, and it's holding steady. It's awesome, and I'm having a blast using it. So
Yeah.
I recommend these sort of little things because especially in the case of like right now, you look at the Steam Deck, which just went up in price to almost
Yes.
$1,000, which is insane.
Oh god,
You
what's
look
the
at something,
standalone like PC Steam like deck PC thing gonna be? It's gonna be insane.
it's going to be crazy, and apparently it releases next week, and no
Oh
one
yeah.
knew.
Oh
So
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Apparently, people are saying that they've got shipments coming from Steam to their house now for review, and they're all assuming it's their new VR headset and Steam Deck, not Steam Deck, but Steam machine because they didn't order anything, and they're reviewers, and it's all directly being sent from Valve to them. So, people assume that in the next like week or two, they'll be up for purchase for normal
Yeah.
people
Mhm.
and reviews will be up in the next few days. So there's that. How much they'll be? My guess is like in the at least $1,200 range, which is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
If they somehow are able to get this below $700, awesome. If it
Mhm.
has the power, but otherwise, that's not good. you know.
No, not at all. I mean, honestly, they're like pricing themselves out of the market. Like, what are you even bothering with?
Yeah, I know. I completely understand. I will say because I looked further into it, at
Mhm.
least from my understanding, a lot of their thing is they are kind of last in line behind a Nintendo, behind a Nvidia, behind a AMD, behind yada yada yada. Those other
Yeah, yeah.
companies like PlayStation, Microsoft, Xbox. They're last in line when it comes to getting these parts. So it's like I understand your price increase, but your price increase is so much. At least for your handheld system, that it's actually insane, and you've already priced yourself out of the market compared to these other people, these
Yeah.
other Chinese companies, the other companies like Ambernick or Ioneo, but then again, Ioneo, which is another one I was looking into, who has created like a OLED um, Nintendo 3DS,
Mhm.
apparently, which is crazy. I don't know if you've seen their oh God, what is it called? Is it Ioneo Thor? Is that what it's called?
I don't know. I have no clue what you're even talking about.
Okay, I have to find it. Oh yeah, it's the Ioneo Thor. So this is going to be $500 in a few days, but right now it's not. But this thing is fucking awesome, and it is a dual screen handheld OLED that is pretty much designed to play 3DS games, obviously, but it can do everything. It can play any game essentially on this thing. It's
You
very
literally
powerful.
did you just send me the same thing again?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It didn't do it. My bad. Um, whoop, there you go.
Yes,
Did it,
there we
did it
go.
send it this time?
Much
Yeah,
better.
there it is. There it is.
Okay.
So it's a
Yeah.
dual screen handheld designed like a Nintendo
3DS.
3DS
Except it's got
essentially.
a
It has,
proper second joystick, so that's
yeah, and
nice.
they're Hall effect, so no drift. So there's
Okay.
that.
Also good.
And the whole thing is like two OLED screens attached to each other. And yeah, it looks very nice. It is very nice. A lot of people have already played with this and reviewed this thing. It's constantly on back order, but this is like as powerful as a Steam Deck. And currently it's $250 for their light version, with their
Mhm.
base model being like 320, I think,
Yeah.
and their Pro being 400. So when you have things like this that are on the market, that I mean, you can even use something like, which I've found out is a thing that exists. It's called Game Native, which allows you to play your Steam Deck games, your Steam games on these little handhelds as well. You kind of already priced yourself out of the market, and then SteamOS is like your best bet essentially. But you've got things like the Aineo Thor, you've got things like the Odin 3, you've got things like I went down a big rabbit hole of these Android and Linux consoles, in case you can't tell.
I
Retroid
could see.
Pocket,
Mhm.
because you got to look elsewhere when something like the Steam Deck goes up in price to $1,000. Like that's insane. So
Yeah.
I started looking all over the place at all these other competitors, essentially,
Mhm.
and I fell down a huge rabbit hole of Android and Linux handhelds that have been created, all with like OLED screens, or like the one I got, which is a low to mid range one, 720p IPS screen, small, pocketable. But then they have other ones that are like the 3DS one I just showed you with the Eye Neo Thor, or the Retroid Pocket one that I just showed you just now, which looks more like a Switch but has the power of like a Steam Deck or higher. And
Hmm.
yeah, you've got all these other things that obviously aren't going to be as mainstream, but will work better, and in some cases are better made than things like, your MSI Claw, your Xbox Ally Go, your Steam Deck or whatever. So there are these other options that people have out there, and I think a lot of people don't know that they have these options yet because this is still a very niche market, so to speak. But
Yeah.
there are other ways if you want a handheld console experience that you can get that experience. And I would highly recommend looking into them, because maybe you'll find one that you like that's not $1,000 and that you
Yeah.
can, just take out, play some games, chill,
Yeah.
and go back to
Hmm.
doing what you needed to do,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
take on a little trip with you or something. And that doesn't weigh like a ton like the Steam Deck does.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, not like the Switch 2 is terribly lighter
No,
anyways.
no, it's not that
Um,
much lighter. But like,
yeah.
also, I mean, that's even a better example. But with that being a $500 little thing, I think I'd rather take my Chinese knockoff that works better than I would my actual, like, oh, someone recognizes that's a Nintendo branded thing, I'ma steal that.
I
You
know. I mean,
know?
I still have like anxiety about, remember when Nick got his Switch stolen out of his
Mm-hmm.
car? When he was like at New York or New Jersey or something. I
Mm-hmm.
remember. Yeah, that's wild. I mean, we went camping with it this weekend. Or well, I went camping this weekend. I brought my Switch with me, and that was also on my mind too. I'm like, what if it gets damaged or what if something happens? I'm like, I have like 1.5 billion games on this thing.
Yeah.
And it's even just thinking about the cost to replace it. I mean, obviously, the digital games I don't have to worry about. It wouldn't be like
Mm-hmm.
Nick where you lose all those physical games for me,
Exactly.
but still, I mean, you lose your SD cards. Stuff is even just re-downloading things is a pain in
SD
the
cards are
ass.
expensive right now too. They're just so
Yeah,
fucking stupid.
I've been watching because I've been trying to get a bigger card for my OG Switch, and so there are two terabyte cards available now, and they're like $600, and I'm like, oh, you can get fucked.
How
Like
much was it? What's the size?
600, two
Okay.
terabytes.
Yeah, that's insane, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I'm
I
pretty
actually saw
sure.
recently, I just thought about this because you mentioned storage space, right? I
Yeah, yeah.
saw recently someone was like, here's a life hack for you, because PC SSDs are so fucking expensive right now.
Uh-huh.
They are incredibly expensive. Go to your local Walmart, buy one of the PlayStation brand SSDs, put it in your PC. It works the exact same way, and it's
Wow.
cheaper by like
Yeah.
$150. So, like, just do it, you know?
Just do it. Yeah. No, I agree. But yeah, those things are crazy. Even like the um the 2 terabyte card I was looking at, it was previously like $400, and
Hmm.
now they just re-released it at 600. So
Yeah,
it's
it's crazy. Shit's
mhm.
crazy right now. You got to find every single way you can to, make things a
Yeah.
little bit cheaper on yourself, essentially.
I
You
know. So right
know.
now I'm just like, I'll just wait until it's cheaper because I'm like, I'm not
Hmm.
pushing. I don't need it this second. And for me, I think the OG Switch is kind of turned into what you're describing with that, because I'm like, well, this is
Yeah.
my old system. I can play all the games on this.
But
The
maybe you're a gotcha player. Maybe you play gotcha games and
Yeah.
you don't want to
Mhm,
just use your phone. You want like a dedicated handheld or something for it. And these things
mhm.
I'm mentioning right now can do that,
Yeah.
or maybe you want to play emulation things, or maybe you even want to go and dive into like the retro achievements like I mentioned.
Mhm,
All these things will do that, and will do it way better than the original systems,
mhm,
and will give you a better experience in a
mhm.
lot of cases. So like,
Yeah.
these are all just things that I dived down a massive rabbit hole. I checked out a few people that I highly recommend looking into also. They do a lot of reviews for these things, and they just kind of give you the specs, they give you the information, they show you how games play on it, and they give you their own personal opinions.
Mhm.
100% check out Tech Dweeb on YouTube, as well as Retro Game Corps. those guys are phenomenal and have been like massive helps while I've been trying to decide what I wanted to get, because I was on the fence about what I wanted to get. I knew I didn't want to go over $150 or $200, but I also knew that I wanted something that could play things like PSP and stuff like that, because this PSP is kind of like where I'm at right now. I want to play a lot of different PSP games, and
Yeah.
this thing seemed to be the most powerful tiny thing I could throw in my pocket that can also play PSP and is comfortable to use. So I ended up going with my RG Rotate. So, like, yeah, it's a
Okay.
smaller screen, and if I want to, I would have to stretch it out if I want to stretch it out to the full screen. But I don't want to, nor do I care. I just want to play some PSP on the go.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of places also that you can find or learn how to dump your own games if you have your physical copies and whatnot. So there's a lot of places for that information that you can find online as well. So, either or, whichever way you want to do it.
Okay.
I ain't judging, but yeah, it's these things are super cool and like very convenient. I just really like it because it also is just like really nice when you have it in like sleep mode, and I'm gonna show you that. So like I have it on sleep mode right now,
Mm-hmm.
and this is what it looks like just sitting on my desk while in sleep mode. It's just a little clock. It looks like a clock.
It's funny because as you were saying that, I was like, it'd be really cool if I had like a clock mode and you could use it
It
as an
does.
alarm clock.
It does. It
Yeah.
can just sit right there on your desk, and it has a little alarm clock face and everything, and it literally looks like a normal ass alarm clock.
Yeah. Although nobody these days knows how to read analog clocks, but yes.
That's true.
Yeah. No, I really like the clock design you chose. That's nice.
Yeah, it's nice. That's
Mhm.
the preloaded one that it comes with.
Mhm.
That's the first
Yeah.
one it starts with. So,
Yeah. Looks good.
like I said, I love this little thing. It's super cool and it looks really nice, and it's got enough power to play most of the games I want to play. So, and I didn't have to spend that much, like $120 for Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, N64, PlayStation Portable, PC Engine, 3DS. In some cases, it's not going to be able to run the higher end 3DS games, but some PS2, a decent chunk of GameCube. Like I can play Beautiful Joe on this thing. I mean, there's so much here to love
Beautiful
for
Joe,
the
I think, would be good on this. Although,
yeah.
on the flip side, though, I was thinking about it, I'm like, I don't think this would be a good system for N64. But I guess it depends on what game you're playing. But
So
yeah.
interesting enough, and I haven't mentioned this because I forgot to.
Uh-huh.
If you press up on the volume
Okay.
and press the power button at the same time, the
Uh-huh.
D-pad is now read as a thumbstick. So anything that would be used as a thumbstick is now programmed to your D-pad.
Okay. But like, does it only give you 8 directions though? That would be my issue. Because when I think about what you're describing,
Mm-hmm.
I think of Super Mario 64 DS.
And I don't know because I'm not playing games like that, but like
Okay.
for instance, when I play something like on PS2, for instance, I was playing
Yeah, yeah.
Onimusha, and that's
Mhm.
a game that's uses thumbsticks, but also is tank controls and
Okay.
a predetermined camera, like I forgot what they call it, like the
Pre-rendered like scenes kind of thing.
pre-rendered backgrounds, that sort of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah. So like as you change, you got pre-rendered camera backgrounds as you're going from one place to the other, and I didn't have to like do any control changes or anything. I just pressed those two buttons and it instantly read my D-pad as a thumbstick now. So anything that would be a like require thumbstick movement
Mhm.
now just works with my D-pad without like going in and changing the settings or anything like that.
Okay.
So like
Yeah.
that's convenient. So like
Mhm.
say for instance you wanted to play Mario Kart, and that works with D-pad. That works with a D-pad with the thumbstick. Like yeah, you're not going to have all of the control, but also you can play Mario Kart on like the DS or 3DS. So you can play Mario Kart with with a with a D-pad as well. So I don't know. I think it's
Oh.
just very convenient that you have the option to do that with just two
Yes.
button presses without having to
Yeah.
go into the settings and change everything around.
Oh, yeah, I mean, the ease of changing things is nice. That definitely is a good thing. I don't know, I mean, I guess I would just be curious to see how some of the other games like that would play on it and kind of which games would be good and
Give me
which
a
games.
list to test and I'll give it a try and see what I can and can't play. Because Because it sounds like an interesting idea.
Yeah. I mean, really, I would say, start do like the for N64 games, I'd say like do the classics, like Mario 64, Ocarina
Hmm.
of Time.
It's like
Like
things I wouldn't be playing on this, essentially.
yeah,
At
not
least
your
me personally, I wouldn't be
yeah, not
playing
your thing.
these.
But those are like the quintessential 3D games,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, no, I
And I
understand.
feel like trying those, if they like, I know they're not, I know especially Mario 64 is not a game you love.
Hmm.
But that would at least be like, hey,
Well, it's not necessarily the fact that I don't love it or anything. It's just
mhm,
when I think of like a handheld experience, I'm not
yeah.
thinking of jumping in and out of Mario 64. I'm thinking of
No, no,
something
no.
like my Castlevania games where I can get to a save room and save, and then I can move on to the next. I can just close it, listen to some music while I'm now driving somewhere in the car, and then open it back up when I get back home and play some more Castlevania or something like that. That's what I'm thinking. Or
I
like
mean, Mario
some like high
64 is not too
score
different from that. Yeah, you could just go and get a
some like
star and then
high
close
score
it.
games or something like that. Like
Yeah.
I played Crazy Taxi on this thing and it was
Mhm.
awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun. And like driving games, I feel like would be nice. I
Driving
guess
games are awesome on this.
yeah, I guess
Um,
I would just say, just kind of see what the limitations are of the controls
yeah,
that you have. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's a good point. I think that's a
Mhm.
very good point that you bring up. I think I was mostly looking at it from like the games that I've wanted to play, I have been able to play, essentially. So
Well,
that's
and
that's
that's
where I'm
that's
at.
good. Yeah.
Hmm.
And that's really, yeah, at the end of the day, that's the important part. So, yeah.
Yeah,
All right.
like I
What
got
else you
Tony
been
Hawk
playing?
on it. Oh man,
Yeah.
Tony Hawk's so fun. I forgot how
Mhm.
good Tony Hawk is, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I played a game called My Cannibal Family, which
Okay.
is not out yet. I was able to test it, and I didn't have to sign an NDA or anything, so I'm going to talk about it.
Okay.
You play as a group of cannibals who have taken over this rest stop and have changed it into like a carnival, essentially. So
Mhm.
this game is part like base building, like where you like build an entire theme park essentially, set up all the traps and everything, and at nighttime you'll have people come and visit, and you want to lure visitors off into different areas so that you can kill them and like bag their bodies and then feed them to your family members that you are growing alongside the rest of your cannibal family. And it's really funny and really silly, and it's kind of a little undercooked right now, obviously, because I just was playtesting it. But all the like bones and the neat ideas are there. Like it plays a lot more like something like it's. So I played it in co-op. So there's that first and foremost. I played it with two other people, and when you have more players, it gets more fun, obviously. But they'll have like a high value target that you have to either capture or kill at before the end of nighttime, and you have to like build up a house for your family while you're doing this, and you have to go out and harvest things that will always come back at the on during the next day, and you have to like set up the carnival so it's like attractions that bring people in, but you want to bring people in so that you can kill them and like harvest their body for the rest of your family for food and for um, other things, essentially.
Yeah.
And it's super neat. It's a really interesting concept because it is part like first person stealth action co-op game
Mhm.
and part almost like a tower defense. Like you're building all the towers and all the bases and all the traps and everything during the day, and then at night you are that like you're having people come in and visit, and they're setting off the traps and everything, and you have to sneak around and bag up their bodies so the other people that are in the carnival that you've put together don't notice that you're killing people offhandedly and bagging their bodies for your own family and for your own needs and stuff like that. It's
Mhm.
super neat. It's a very interesting idea. I really want to see what it's like when it officially releases. But yeah, I just think there's a lot of really cool elements to this game, and I think that it'll work really well when it actually releases. At the end of the night, whenever you've like bagged bodies and gotten stars from like people enjoying the attractions that you didn't kill, that you didn't need to kill or whatever, then
Mhm.
it'll make it so you'll get like a rating for your carnival essentially, and it'll make people come in the next night. Like more people will come in, higher value people will come in and stuff like that, which will make it so that you can capture like more valuable people, get more XP for doing so, and build more stuff and create a bigger area to have more people come in and so on and so forth. It's you want to have the biggest, craziest carnival like fun house place you possibly can, while also killing people and then bagging them up and making sure no one else notices that you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really silly and a really fun co-op game that I think will be great when it officially releases. So yeah, cool game.
Okay. Yeah.
That was something I played.
All right.
I don't know if I put anything else. Now I have to
I
check.
think you just said demos, but I don't know if it was.
Oh yeah, I did play a few. No, that was a play test. So I'll say I did play a few demos. I played the Warhammer Survivor game, which is Warhammer 40K, but as from the Vampire Survivor team, essentially. So Ponicle is working on this game alongside some of the Warhammer devs and whatnot, and I mean, it is, for all intents and purposes, it is 100% just Vampire Survivors in the Warhammer universe, and it's super fun to play. So there's that. There was also another game that is a like racing RPG. Like I think it's called Kato Genkai, and it's like literally a cell shaded racing game that's also an RPG. Super neat. Highly recommend checking out that demo before it ends, because right now Steam Next Fest is going on, which is where they present a bunch of games that are coming out in the next like year or so, the next few months, next year, and those games have demos that you can then play on PC and check out and see how they are. So you'll get like a feel for those games before they release, and it gives you like a little. It's kind of like going to like like a PAX East or something like that, where a bunch of vendors have their games laid out, except you can just go to the website of Steam and download the games directly onto your computer, and you get to play them until the next fest ends. So cool, very cool. And there's a lot of games that I highly recommend checking out right now. So if you have a PC, and that's not many right now because of the component shortage, I would recommend checking out Steam Next Fest, because there's a lot of good games on there this year that are worth looking into.
Yeah.
I think that's it for me when it comes to games I've played.
Okay. Like I said, I don't have anything exciting on that side of things this week, so we'll move into news.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So I don't know if you have other news, but Xbox is like, let's fuck things up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly, this is like mind-boggling to me in so many ways. Like they're like, hey, here's all these games. Okay, let me take a step back, because we've talked about this for a while. Obviously, Microsoft and Xbox are going through a restructuring. They're trying to make Xbox profitable, so they're making changes. And we've been talking about it for months now. Obviously, Xbox has been allowing a lot of their developers basically free reign and letting, multiple studios kind of just do what they want and whatever. So makes sense that they're kind of looking at like restructuring, close-offs, layoffs. They should have never bought these companies in the first place. I mean, that's kind of what my thought is there, but we are where we are. So now you have what are the studios are they looking at? They're looking at Double Fine. I remember they're looking at the Senua people, and there was another one that was mentioned. Oh, Compulsion Games was the other one. So these are the rumored studios, at least right now. There's definitely other employees and studios at least at risk for layoffs. So Microsoft's an interesting place. I mean, especially with like Senua. They're like literally last week they're like, hey, look at our new Hellblade game.
They did.
When we're closing the studio. Also, although to be fair, last week I also was like, they're making another one?
Yeah, after Hellblade 2, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, so I mean, honestly, I think I'm more surprised that after Hellblade 2, they're like, greenlit a sequel. Why did we do this? That is kind of like the mystery of like Microsoft, like how did they get to this point and why are they doing things? I couldn't imagine Hellblade 2 did very well for them. So the fact that they greenlit
I will say this, right? Yeah? The sequel, what we saw, you could at least fight more than one person at a time in the sequel. So it looked more like the original. That was actually really good. A little bit.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, all the feedback that I heard relatively for Senua was pretty positive. At least from like the previews from last week or whatever.
Yeah.
But you're right. Yeah, like it's just strange behavior. I don't know what they're thinking. I mean, I know what they're thinking, but I don't know what they're thinking. I hope that these studios like land on their feet. It sounds like those three that I mentioned. It sounds like they're looking at options, either moving or trying to, like find a way to be independent. But yeah, I don't know where they're going here. So, what are your thoughts?
So, I have a few feelings.
Okay.
And I've actually been having a bit of a conversation with someone about this.
Hmm.
Spoiler alert: the person that was having the conversation, they just decided to make it all about themselves because they used to work at Epic Games and they're fucking stupid.
Okay.
So we'll have that conversation really quickly, right?
Yeah.
They said that video games are not a charity. They aren't art that you hang in a museum. We don't have billion-dollar patrons who will pay 250 million for a vanity project. These things need to be commercially viable. But too many in the enthusiast media, such as influencers among them, have spent so long tearing down everything, such as DLC, microtransactions, loot boxes, AI, etc., and they've created a huge rift between the economics of the industry and the player expectations. So tell me, who is going to buy a business running at 3% contribution margin to leave loss-making studios open? In case this generous idea of AA, where everyone says Claire obscure and then can't say anything else, magically starts printing money. If that actually worked, everyone would already be doing it. The industry needs to reset its cost structures, and to do so, it's going to incur a lot of pain on places that don't actually make money. And y'all need to put a mirror in front of yourselves when you ask why this is happening, because you'll be staring right at a big reason for it. You've taken a particular glee in tearing down the industry over the past 3 to 5 years, and now you're surprised at what you see. So I just wrote, oh look, a shit opinion blaming gamers and consumers for having standards from someone who was a consultant at Epic Games. It must be a day of the week ending in the letter Y. And
But
their
I mean,
response was, I worked at Epic full time and was laid off in March. I am a consultant now. I decided I'd rather just work on projects that excite me. And so far I've been doing great. Thank you for your shit post though. And my response was, notice how you made this entire post about you and your accolades now, and you didn't disagree with me when I called your opinion shit, and said that you're blaming the consumers for having standards. Because guess what? I noticed you did.
yeah,
So
and I would say, I mean, you know, in some ways, some of the things he's saying is right. In some ways, some of the things he's saying is wrong. I mean, I agree with both of you in different ways. Um, I mean, to his point, game budgets, and this is something we've talked about for a while, are out of hand. Like
yes, you're
they're
100, and that's 100% correct. But
ridiculous.
they're blaming the fact that these companies aren't doing well and that games aren't making money on people being against AI, DLC, and microtransactions such as loot boxes. That is what they're
Well,
blaming it on. By the consumers being against that, that's what caused the budgets to balloon out of control and caused these companies to shut down. And it's every consumer's fault for being against these anti-consumer practices. That is not true.
no, I didn't say I agreed with everything he said. I said I agreed with parts of what he
Well,
said.
that was the major thing they said, and the fact that they worked at Epic Games made it very obvious that they were going to throw this back to being as anti-consumer as humanly possible.
Oh yeah,
Because
of course.
that's what Epic Games fucking
It was
shills do.
Game Days does, yes.
It's
But I
essentially
mean,
what they do.
really, part of it, the core part that's the issue is the ballooning budgets on the developer side. But on the consumer side, there's definitely, I don't blame consumers. Honestly, I think that it's great that people are like, hey, I and we've talked about this before. You have your stance on AI, you take it, you're like, I'm not going to support this practice, and that's really how it should be. And
Yep.
you can't blame that on the consumers. That's not their fault. That's your fault because you are
You
actively
invested
going.
into that thing. You
Yeah.
invested into that thing. That is your problem
And
because
how
you
much of
chose to
that
invest
ballooning
into it.
budget is
Yeah.
because of the AI, or the other kind of non-traditional,
Making things into a live service where you constantly have to keep it updated instead of just making a one and done project, or
yeah.
dumping all of
Mhm.
your money into making the graphics as pretty as humanly possible instead of spending on, I don't know, making a good fucking game. Hellblade
Exactly.
2, cough cough.
But I mean, it's literally kind of what we keep coming back to, or it's like, well, why is Nintendo so stable? It's because they realize a lot of this stuff.
Yeah.
Don't over balloon the budgets. Make practical timelines. Don't announce things too early. Keep things practical in terms of scope. Like, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, sure, you can go crazy with that game. It's going to sell a fuck ton. But like,
Hmm.
you don't take
You don't
Rhythm
do that with
Heaven
every single
and
game.
beef it up with AI and make it a
Yeah.
300-hour RPG with
Yeah.
like all this crazy shit.
We don't need
Like,
to. We
no,
just make
there's
your
a
thing
place
and then you're
for
done.
yeah, there's a place for like high-end triple A games, and there's
Hmm.
also a place for like high-end like B games. Like you don't spend the same amount of money making both. Like you have to kind of make a practical thing. And yeah, consumers, they're like, I want better graphics, I want this and that. But you don't always have to be like cyberpunk levels of
Yeah.
graphical fidelity.
Yeah.
Like, you can go a long way with, say, like, I mean, obviously Nintendo
An
showcases.
aesthetic goes a long way. I'm just saying
Yes.
that. An aesthetic goes a long way. You
Why is
don't
Wind
need.
Waker so well received today, 20 years later? It's not because of its high-end HD
Hmm.
AI graphics. It is because of a good experience, and it was designed to be timeless. And that goes a long way. Epic wishes they could conjure up something that timeless.
What are the top games of 2026 right now? Let's
Like,
see.
just in general?
Yeah, I'm
Or
looking
are
at
you
them right
talking
now.
about like actual sales?
No, I'm looking at current best like rated games of 2026.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure it's like Metopia, or not Metopia, sorry. Tomodachi Life, Mina the Hollower,
I just pulled up
Pokopia,
Metacritic.
Mugenics.
Okay. Okay, this is interesting. Are you looking at that list too?
I am.
Okay. Yeah. Um Interestingly, Resident Evil 7 got on this list. I'm assuming it's because of the Switch version.
Yeah, that's what it
Um
shows. Yeah.
yeah. But I mean, Mina Hollower makes a
Yep.
lot of sense. For Forza, you were talking about how much you love that game. I've never heard of
Yep.
Schrodinger's Call though.
New
Um
New
okay,
VN
makes
visual
sense.
novel. Yep.
Pocopia, obviously we've talked a shit ton
Yep.
about that game.
Fantastic game.
Requiem, we talked a shit ton about
Yep.
that game.
Also fantastic game.
First Light, I've not played, but we talked about how well received that
It
was.
looks great. It looks
You
great.
talked, yeah, you talked about Soros. That's another
And
great
I
one.
enjoyed most of it until it got not enjoyable, but
Until it
it
got
is what
not
it is.
enjoyable.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I mean, but you're right.
But there's
Like,
something to take
almost,
away from here. Like, look at this. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games that their graphics are, I would not say that great. Not that great in the top 10.
yeah.
We've,
But
we've
even the other ones though. I mean, you look at like Requiem, like yeah, it
you're
can
using the
be.
same engine as 4.
Yeah,
So
but
like
it can be a great looking game, but it also can scale down to a pretty reasonable looking game
it
too.
could probably run on a cell phone, and it probably will in the next year.
I'm
Now,
sure, I'm certain it can, because
yeah.
I mean, I think I want to say they've done Resident Evil games on cell phones before, haven't
Hmm.
they?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, yes,
and if
yes.
they have, that means
Villages
that
on
this one
cell
definitely
phones.
can. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. But no, my main point here is if you look at this, at
Hmm.
least from graphical styles, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the top 10 games of 2026 that aren't super high end, amazing, incredible. Oh my god, I'm going to shit my pants because this looks so realistic graphics.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Have at
Mhm.
least 6 games like that. You don't need to be dumping all of your money into hyper realistic graphics. You just need to make good games. It's as simple as that. It's as
Exactly.
simple as that.
And even the stuff that is
And
on here that's
there is
looking.
places for it. Like let's say for instance, Forza Horizon 6 is here.
Yeah.
It's a racing game. It's
Mhm.
kind of expected. But that doesn't
Yes.
mean you can't make like indie racing games also that are really good. There are indie racing games that are really good.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely. Or
you can
even
do that
things
too.
like Resident Evil Requiem, like, for
Hmm.
example. Like I said, it is a great looking game. Could they have pushed the graphics even further if they wanted to? Sure, but they didn't need to
And
because
they
they're like,
didn't.
yeah, they're like, this game is exceptional at this level. We do
Yep.
not need like all these crazy extra effects. We do not need to push the boundaries of what is possible graphically. We're going to work within the means of what's accessible and reasonable this generation.
Hmm.
And that's what they did. And that's why they made it so it can go from the PlayStation 5 Pro all the way down to the Switch 2 and look and play great on every system. And I just feel like most developers don't take the care or the time to do that anymore.
If you
So,
look at the top games from 2025, you had Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom Switch 2 editions. You had
uh-huh.
Hades 2, you had Clair Obscur, you had Blueprints, you had Split Fiction, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Hollow Knight Silksong, Rhythm Doctor, and Despolote. Again, many of these games here are not god tier ultra realistic graphics.
Mhm.
Not, 100, 300, 400, 500, 600 million dollars budgets. They're smaller games.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be what these people think it needs to be.
Mhm.
And it's infuriating that these people are convinced that is the only way it can be. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And when you're losing all these wonderful companies like Double Fine, you're losing companies like Ninja Theory and stuff like that because of these overinflated ridiculous budgets. Like, I don't think what is coming out like is worth what is worth losing these people, and I don't think it's worth like putting that much time into it. Maybe we could pull it back a little bit and you could still have your piece of art that doesn't have to be photorealistic, and it can still be there because you could still tell a story without needing to spend hundreds of millions of dollars to tell said story, and
Yeah.
you could still make a good game without having to do that. And it's really
Yeah.
not that hard, and you could see other people that have been able to do it, and it's like, come on. Like,
Mhm.
you don't need to dump a full company, but the full company also doesn't need to have a budget that is a unmarked check. Like, that's a thing because apparently that's what Microsoft did, and all these companies that these developers they bought, they just gave them a blank check. I don't think that was a good idea.
No, and that's always, I mean, I feel like that's management like 101. You
Yeah.
set reasonable goals,
Hmm.
you follow up, you hold teams accountable,
Yep.
and you don't just be like, okay, like I feel like Microsoft literally, like you said, and I know I've said this before too, like they'll give them like a blank check and they'll be like, all right, let's check in a couple of years
Yeah.
and see what's going on. And then they're like, oh yeah, we have a concept of a game like 3 years later. Be like, what are
Why?
you
What have
doing?
you
Like
been
we're
doing for three
yeah.
years?
Yeah, I feel
Now,
like there's
now,
a lot.
granted, they could be also bouncing them around to other companies to do this, that, and the other, and we don't know because that has
Yeah.
happened in the past when there's been poor management. Like, for instance, with EA bouncing the people that made Dragon Age Inquisition over to or Dragon Age shit, what was it called?
I don't
No,
know which
Mass
one you're
Effect and
saying.
Andromeda. Mass Effect
There we
Andromeda.
go.
That's the
Yes.
one.
Mhm.
They bounced them over to work on like FIFA and shit like that. And it's
Yeah.
like, why are you doing this? This is just poor management. Or Ubisoft, just their entire catalog, or
I
or
mean, shifting
it's just
shifting resources around isn't necessarily a bad thing though. I
that's
mean,
true.
like
And I don't disagree.
you look at
Go on.
examples like with Nintendo and say like Monolith. Like Monolith, while they make the Xenoblade games, they also act as a support team. Um, and same thing with Retro. They also act as a support team and those kind of things. Not necessarily taking resources away from a project. It's just being like, hey, we have this team is very good at like environmental engines. Like, let's have them help with Breath of the Wild or Mario Kart. And that's kind of what they had done, basically being like, this is this team's strength on this system, let's have them help this other team that's having issues. And that's very reasonable. That's a great use of resources, because then you're not letting the team get into a block because of a technical issue when you have a solution
Hmm.
inside of your company. Whereas, I mean, I don't know, I feel like setting the the Mass Effect team to work on FIFA. I mean, maybe there's some technical issues there. I mean, could be,
Hmm.
but FIFA, it's not like it was the first FIFA of all time. Like, they weren't starting from scratch; they're building up. So I don't know how much. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I get that. I think, like you said, also that shit could work, obviously, with bouncing from, like you said, with Retro and with Monolith, and that's fine. But I think when you change them from being a support team to just being the team, which seems to might be what's happening with Microsoft in some of these cases,
Mhm.
that's when you have a problem. And then that goes back to the problem of management, which that might be what's going on here. And I hope, at the end of the day, I just hope Microsoft's the one that's the fuck up and everything gets sorted out for these people and they can go make what they want to make, essentially. Because I feel like every time I have something good to say about Microsoft, within hours or days, I have to retract all of it.
I know they are very like I feel like every time they have like a good positive thing, they
hmm
find a way to change it in the
hmm
opposite direction.
Yep.
Uh I mean, I would say so far, honestly, at least outwardly, whatever they're doing restructuring wise, it needed to be done. And
Yeah.
kind of like that person you talked about before, like Microsoft, and I would say to the same degree Sony,
Yeah.
dug themselves in this position. And
Bluepoint is such a good developer, and
it
we
is.
let them die because you tried to make them work on 3 different live service games. Like,
Yes.
what the fuck are you doing? Like,
No, exactly.
I can
And
point
this
to Sony and say the same thing. Obviously, not
oh
as
yeah,
much as I can point to Microsoft, but I think at the end of the day, I can point to quite a
Sony's
few of
just
these
as yeah, they
companies
just
and
didn't
say,
buy as many. Yeah,
hmm
like that's really the big thing. Like Microsoft was trying to one up Sony, which for them was a good move if they had followed through with it and managed things correctly, which they
hmm
didn't. And so they basically wasted all of that
it
money
just comes back to
and
management. They fucked
all
up.
of that thing. Yeah. And the same thing with Sony. Sony just didn't do as much of it. But I mean, you can see the same thing
Yeah,
with Bungie. You can see the same
yeah.
thing with Bluepoint. You can see
It
the same thing with
sucks too because I like Marathon. I still think Marathon is a good game in general. I just think like making that the game, which seems like now that is what Sony and Bungie is going full on into, is just probably not a good idea.
Mhm. Yeah. So
They
um
overinflated the budget for Marathon,
mhm.
and they overinflated the budget for like 20 different Xbox studios. That's essentially where we're at right now.
Yeah. And I like I said, there's gonna be pain while they clean this up, unfortunately.
Yeah,
But I mean, at the end of the day, it really should have never happened in the first place.
yeah.
But I think also because they let themselves get in the mess, I honestly do think this is probably the only solution for them to fix this.
hmm
Um,
So I got to point out a few other things because we were talking about Double
of
Fine as
course.
well because it's another one on the chopping block
Yes.
essentially for Microsoft.
Mhm.
The last 2 games that Double Fine have released, one was
Psychonauts
a
2.
no,
Or
no,
not
you
so
actually don't know what the last 2 games Double Fine has released. There were
okay.
2 of them this year.
What?
Spoiler alert.
Okay.
Yes.
I definitely did not know this. Um, well, there we go. I mean, obviously, that's
One
also
is
a
called
sign that there's an
one
issue.
is called Kiln, which is a game where you make pottery and then play on a 3v3 multiplayer online battle arena game
Mhm.
with
Yeah.
other people using the pottery that you've created, and where you assemble your team based on what you sculpted at the beginning of the game, which is a interesting idea, but it is a random online multiplayer. Like, I don't think it's live service, but it might be live service because I do see that there's some like decorations and upgrade stuff and stuff like that. But essentially, we've got a random multiplayer, high concept but really weird multiplayer friend like co-op slash competitive game that came out of nowhere on April 23rd, 2026. That is the last game that Double Fine put out. And before that, the game they put out was I want to say it's something called Lantern Keeper. That was actually October 17th. So it has been in the last year, but not in 2026 for that one. So October 17th was a game called Keeper where you play as a moving lighthouse
Okay.
in this like atmospheric puzzle adventure game,
Uh-huh.
essentially. Two
Yeah.
games that you've never heard of, I'm
No.
sure, and you've
No,
never
not even
seen
I've
at
never
all.
even seen the name of them. Like,
Yeah,
that's bad. That's
yeah,
horrible.
yeah. I think that kind of I kind of rest my case with that right there. You thought the
Yeah.
last game they put out was Psychonauts 2, which do you know when Psychonauts 2 came out?
It's been years. I thought I honestly
2021.
I
And
thought that they
these
put
two games came
Psychonauts
out
2 out,
last
and they've
6
been
months.
working on I literally thought they've been working on their next game since
Nope,
Psychonauts 2.
nope. These two games recently came out. And
Okay.
like no one talks about them, no one saw them, no one played them. And I feel like they were kind of almost shadow dropped, but in a way that it was like impossible to even know they existed, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, even too, like Indiana Jones, like I know I talk about that game a lot. I
That's a
can't tell you how
different
many
company,
times.
but yeah.
No, I know. This is more back to Microsoft, but
Yes.
but it was really more a point of like I've talked about that game a lot. I know on the
Yes.
podcast, but generally when I've talked to like other gamers about it, they're like, "What is it?" Like,
Yeah.
honestly, it's like it just kind of it came out, it got great reviews, and then it went right under the radar because Microsoft did nothing with it. I don't
Yeah.
think I saw a single advertisement for it at all.
So I
The
saw
only
ads
reason,
for it, but I saw them on Twitch, and I'm on Twitch because I stream sometimes,
yeah,
so that's the reason I
mhm.
saw them. But
I
also,
never saw ads. Usually, most of my game ads come from YouTube, and I never saw any there.
yeah,
Um, I think I saw more about it on Reddit as people talking about it as
yeah,
opposed to any advertising or any stuff from Microsoft. And if I remember too, honestly, like I don't think I saw a lot about the game prior to its release. I was
yeah. That's
surprised
another thing.
when
Once
its
something
reviews
comes out
came
from
out.
Microsoft, they just kind of stop talking
Yeah,
about it existing.
and this game in particular, I think they did
But
that.
we don't even need the ads. We just need something. Like I don't know how to explain it, but like if a game comes out from PlayStation, for
Mhm.
instance, like
Yeah,
let's say Soros, it's everywhere. Everyone knows that it existed in some way, shape, or form because it's a PlayStation game. Why is that? What is stopping Microsoft's games from having that exact same thing? Because they're putting out good games. You've mentioned, Indiana Jones, for instance,
yeah.
but no one's no one's talking about them. And I don't know if that's like the Game Pass effect or the Microsoft tax, for lack of a better word, because it does feel like there is an aversion to anything Microsoft when it comes to them releasing games. But I also kind of have that feeling, like when I like watch a Microsoft conference, I'm like,
The
okay,
Microsoft concert.
yeah, well, might as well. When I watch a Microsoft conference, I'm like, okay, cool. So when do I get to play it? And then I find out, and then I'm like, okay, I guess I'll play that. That looks good, nice. And I don't really have that same feeling that I have from other things. Like when
Mhm.
I first saw Wolverine, I was like, oh, that's pretty fucking cool. I like the idea of that. And then I don't see anything for it for a very long time, but I'm still interested in it whenever it does come out. But I don't know. I really don't know. There's just like a really weird feeling when it comes to some Microsoft releases where it feels like the shit is downplayed to the point where it's like, why do I even care?
Yeah. No, exactly. Um, yeah, I
I'm
guess
glad that I play them. Like I'm glad I played some of these games because they're excellent.
no, they're
But
good. But I think it's I think the way I would describe it would be like more. I think that it's hard for me to get excited about an Xbox game if Microsoft is not excited about it, even if it's a good game. Like it's, like something like Indiana Jones. Like I said, it's I kind of had to force myself to play it, and I loved it. But like Microsoft, just like it's good, and it's literally just couldn't care to talk about it again.
can I be honest
Like,
right now?
yeah,
I think E-Day is the first time I've seen Microsoft treat a Xbox game like a game in a long time. I don't know if you've noticed, but like
yes,
they
I've seen a
announced
lot
E-Day,
more
they've
about it
shown
than
so much, they've
anything.
talked so much more about it. They
Mhm.
showed an entire like whole presentation after their presentation just dedicated to that, and I was like, okay, it seems
Yeah.
like you remember that you make games. All right, cool.
Mhm. Yeah. And exactly. And yeah, that gets people excited. Like there definitely is a method to like the madness
Hmm.
in terms of getting hype built up, getting information out to gamers. And
Hmm.
I just feel like a lot of times they don't do that. Like but it seems like I agree with you. Like it does definitely seem like they've kind of learned something and they're getting a little bit better with it with Gears. Um so it'll be interesting to see kind of if they kind of roll that mentality out to the rest
And
of
I
their
think I
stuff.
also need to like make this known. I don't give a shit about Gears because of the fact that it's an exclusive, which a lot of people are like, oh yeah, a lot of people are thinking, oh yeah, it's because they made it an exclusive. No, it's not because they made it an exclusive. It's because they're actually pretending that it exists. Like that's
Yes.
the main thing to take away from here. I don't give a shit if something's exclusive. I'd prefer everything to be on everything personally, but
Yeah.
it's the fact that they're like, this is a game that's coming out. Here's a bunch of the game, and now we're going to talk a bunch more about it and keep talking about it after the first time we show it.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, cool. And it's not necessarily like, oh, we're putting on big, huge things, and spending a lot of money to advertise it. It's just we're talking about it. And I think that goes a long way. And you don't need, $100,000 billboards or fucking, this, that, and the other. You don't need to spend a lot of your budget on that thing, but you have to at least mention it exists after you announce it.
Yes,
Like
and that's the thing. It's kind of like Nintendo, I think, is good with this because they do the Twitter or like the social media kind of like drip feeds, like they'll be like with Star Fox, they were like, oh, here's some more information, like a couple days later, and then they're like, oh, here's another video, or here's, they're always keeping it on your mind without generally being overbearing. Whereas I feel like Microsoft and Sony a lot of times are like, here's our state of play, see you at the next one. And there's really just not a lot of filler information in between unless there's an event to kind of show it off again, and they care about it. So
yeah,
like,
I will give another example, right? Because we were talking about how Microsoft just kind of shows something and then they're just done with it. But like with E-Day, they showed it and now they're just continuing it. I think another good example of this is like PlayStation recently showed God of War La Fey, I believe is how it's pronounced. I don't know how it's pronounced. It doesn't matter. But they are literally talking like this game releases tomorrow with how much they're showing of it and how much they're talking about it. Like they don't even have a release date for this, but like they've changed everything to this game. They're focusing entirely on this game. Like it's literally about to release, but we don't even know when the hell it's coming out. And I'm just sitting here like, okay, like this is a little overboard. In this case, we're going overboard a little bit because we don't have a release date for this one.
Yeah.
But like, but like that's like the opposite end of the spectrum where you could talk a little bit too much about something.
Yeah,
but
I
like,
agree. But that is one.
It may be too early because I don't know if it's too early or not. You know?
And it could also be, and that is definitely one too, kind of where I know I've definitely told, I've said the same thing too with Nintendo, where it's like we don't need 10 minutes of gameplay in the middle of a presentation for.
I need to see you play fucking. What was it? What were they playing? Rock? Thumb War. Thumb War.
Oh, Thumb War.
10 minutes. Yeah.
Yeah. The one that was coming to my mind was like the Mario Tennis presentation. I don't know, it was last year or wherever, where they're like, all right, we're gonna talk about Mario Tennis for 15 minutes or whatever. Be like, what? Why? Nobody wants this. Like, yeah. I mean, there definitely is. You're right. There is a Goldilocks place to be. There's too little information. There's too much information, and you need to kind of be like, you pace things out and give people, but you want to have stuff that's available for people who want to look into more. So yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents at least. What else thought wise do you have? Anything else?
No, I don't really think I do.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about for this episode?
No, I think I'm good. I think I'm good.
Okay. Let's wrap up then. Thank you everyone for listening tonight. Don't forget you can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, Google, Amazon, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. All of our episodes are available on game-crunch.com. Send us email at gamecrunchcast@gmail.com. Brandon.
Yes.
Any final thoughts?
No, I think I'm good.
Okay. That said, my name is Mike Anastasia. Find me online. I'm Clash of Penguin there or on your favorite gaming console. And until next week, game on.
Game on.
finger, hands on the glass. He sees the old fighter, and the years gone fast. Then the silence breaks like a thunderclap. He throws the cockpit shut and never looks back. Game on, Fox take the sky. Game on, we don't let Cornelia die. Game on, he'll wear the flag. Game on, he'll carry the name. Game on, the fire and chrome. He brings them home.
There it is.
Yep, that was a long one, even though we didn't have much to talk about gameplay wise.
I mean, I feel like honestly, I feel like this is probably one of the most game focused episodes that we've had in a long time.
I think so too.
Yeah, I think it was a good episode.
I think I had a lot to say about this little doodad that I got. I love this thing.
Yeah, I can tell. It sounds like you really enjoy it. It sounds like it's a lot of fun.